Hello and welcome to another Silver Sages Sharing Stories. Today I'm speaking with Marion Baird. Marion is someone whose life I've been following for years as we have a very close mutual friend. But we tend to meet at their special family occasions. And over the years I've been fascinated by the diversity of the things that Marion has done. She started life in bookkeeping and has gone on to do the most amazing number of other things along the way. So I'd really like to welcome Marion Baird today. Hi Marion, how are you?
Good, thanks Jenny, how are you?
And lovely to chat with you. Marion, as I said, you started off in bookkeeping. Well, where were you heading with that? What did you hope to do?
I wasn't. I left school, I landed a job, and this wonderful old gentleman just started teaching me how to do books. And, you know, we're of the vintage where it was a double-sided ledger and it was all handwritten. So I learnt the basics and I've just been doing it ever since.
Okay. But you haven't really been doing that. You've been doing so many more things along the way. I know you were rather sportingly inclined in your, throughout your life, really. But then you moved into acting. Can you tell me how you managed to move into such a difficult kind of career path to take?
It is a difficult one, and I was working for a computer company, IT company, and my boss at the time had a nanny who was studying at the ensemble, and I'd always done a little bit of singing and acting at school, and she said, "Oh, why don't you just come and see?" And they did it in, I think it was 12-week blocks, and I ended up doing the full 3-year diploma course and graduated in 1993 as an actor.
And
changed my life. Gave me all sorts of wonderful
skills. Not a 16-year-old actor either at that stage.
No, I'm not going to. Well, you'd know how old I was in 1993, Jenny. But
well, how did you find that then to getting roles? Was there a problem with age?
Not so much at that stage. It was more experience that blocked you, being that old and having like zero experience. So lucky enough to find an agent who, my very first gig was on The Sum of Us with Russell Crowe and Jack Thompson. And I remember the juxtaposition of this young Russell Crowe and a seasoned professional like Jack Thompson. And like, I was only just an extra. It was, I think you'll see me sitting in a park in the last scene of the movie. And Jack Thompson was just like, he had to sit in a wheelchair. I remember that so vividly. And as soon as he sat, his whole persona changed. But he was the nicest person from start to finish on set. And Mr. Crowe was just Mr. Crowe at, I think, maybe 19, 20 years of age, full of beans and very interested in the female of the species.
I don't think he's changed much.
Yeah, I don't know him that well. But,
that would have been
he mixed very well. So it was just interesting to see how different people could be.
That would have been a very interesting way to start. And over the years, are they the sorts of roles that you've had, the sort of bit parts being involved and on the edge, or have you had stage roles?
Oh, yeah, I've done a lot of stage work, mainly, technically they'd call it amateur because it wasn't paid, but semi-professional. And, TV commercials. In Australia, most actors will probably work in the TV series, TV commercials. I remember at starting, it was frowned upon. Oh, right, we don't do commercials and we don't do soaps. But, of course, it started to change very quickly. When I was studying, camera class was an elective. It wasn't part of what you did. You studied theatre skills. And now you find that theatre is more of an elective because everybody needs to know how to work to a camera.
You mentioned right at the beginning of this that studying the 3 years at the ensemble changed your life. How has it changed you and changed your life?
Well, I don't know. I think I was always very shy. And I know that when I used to sing, I used to get very, very nervous. And I thought, that's why I thought I'd do the course. It'd help me get over that sort of thing when I was performing. And it's given me skill sets to battle the nervous thing, public speaking, tricks to handle my emotions, to bring them on sometimes when they're needed, you know, all sorts of wonderful things like that. You know, a false bravado at times, you know, the ability to stand up for yourself when you really don't think you can, all those sorts of things.
Excellent, excellent. And I think from acting, you started to move into agency work. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do tell me about that.
My agent was thinking of retiring and selling the business. So I decided to look into that, and I spent some time with her, and I was going to buy the business, and at the 11th hour she changed her mind, and I thought, oh, bugger that, I've learnt too much. This just shows you what naivety can do, doesn't it? And I had contacts, I started the business, and I haven't stopped. So that was 2004.
Have you noticed a big problem for the actors and actresses during this period of time, during COVID-19 lockdowns?
This has been the worst thing I've ever seen, really. So little work in this country anyway, so little paid work, so few opportunities. Diversity is a problem. I mean, let's face it, this is a basically white Christian country. Where do you have many white Christian people and females, and they want African Americans and Hispanic people with dark skin and Asians, and not a lot of them around actually in the industry in this country. There's a few, but there's not a lot. So it's really hard. You're trying to get all these wonderful kids and older people who've actually really studied their craft and have the most amazing talent and just can't get a look in. It's kind of scary. And then COVID hits and nothing. You know, all the didn't necessarily stop, but there were a lot of like what they call self-tests. So you'd have to do your own thing and submit it, and then you get it held because the production couldn't come together because there was social distancing and isolating, and so they were trying to cast families. So there's no acting skill again required. They're just trying to put people bums on seats with maybe one actor in the family. So it's been hard. It has picked up the last couple of weeks, but it's still difficult.
Yeah, it is. It is very difficult. So, Marion, through all this, I believe you've been a volunteer for the SES.
I have, and for the last 5 years, I was the local commander for the Burwood unit.
What inspired you to get involved with that?
Well, when I bought my home in Ashfield, I thought I wanted to get more involved in the community. So I was at the shopping centre and they had a little stand and I signed up. And there you go.
And how many years have you been doing that now?
It's 14 years this week.
That's quite a long time for something that was a little stand and you just signed up.
Yes.
What are some of the sorts of things that you've been involved with through the SES?
Oh my God. Well, apart from the storm jobs that you go out on, you know, cutting down trees and hoiking pieces of away, and floods, and the personal aspects with kids, with the people that you're training with, you know, those skill sets and the opportunities it gives you for working in an operations centre, avian spotting, you know, on a plane. Oh God, I can't tell you the amount of courses, and the rescue competitions where you can be a casualty or a participant. It's just been, and some of the friends I made have been amazing, and the community that you meet and the things that you're able to do. The Anzac March. I wasn't a big participator in the Anzac March, and I had my dad's war medals, and I finally brought dad's medals out and wore them with pride. I'm going to cry, God, in an Anzac March. And I've never been more proud of my family than that time. And now I have my own. And I have a niece and a great niece who walk in the march, and I have something to pass on and leave behind.
That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing
sorry.
it with us.
Oh,
no, don't apologise.
Oh my God. Unexpected. Oh, look, I've got red face.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's beautiful that it matters so much to you that you've been able to do that. And you know, what a wonderful thing to be contributing to the community in such a way for so many years. That's something that I think a lot of people of our age group look at and and wonder about doing, but wonder whether it's going to be worth their while or worth their time. If someone was thinking of volunteering for something like that, what would you say to them?
Oh, just give it a go. Look, it doesn't cost you anything. They give you everything. They give you your uniforms. They give you your training. I got my Cert 4 in training and assessment with SES. So I'm training groups of people. There's so much you can learn, skills that'll take you beyond. You don't have to stay forever. It's not a contract. It's non-binding. You can move on anytime you like. Just give it a crack.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. I did warn everybody that your life was very diverse, and it certainly is. So the next little aspect of your life that the highlights of Marion's life that I used to hear from our friend, you became a marriage celebrant. Where did that idea come from? You do a good job, by the way. I've been to a couple of weddings.
Yeah, that's the verbal diarrhea I get when I get nervous. It's came from people saying, "Oh, you should do that. You should do that." And I thought, well, maybe I should. So I did.
Did you have to study for it?
Yeah, there's a course you have to do. You can do it online. I did do it. I think it was 5 days face to face at that stage. I'm not sure what they do now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I loved it. And so that's been since 2009 or something like that. But anyway, I'm going to do a funeral celebrancy this year. I don't know how I'll go with that.
Oh, that could be difficult. Yes.
Yeah, especially because I get so emotional. So I get caught up in, I'm very empathetic. So
with the weddings, has there been a wedding that's been an absolute standout for you?
You mean apart from the ones that are kind of family?
Yeah, the ones that are kind of family are always a standout, but other ones where you've just been hired to do it.
My very, very first one is probably going to go down in the annals of history for me, because they were an African refugee couple. Can't remember whether they were from Nigeria or Somalia or somewhere. Anyway, it was war ravaged and they had a lot of trouble. They couldn't get their documents because they'd left everything behind. And so, the rule book said you took what you could get, and you signed, got them to sign a stat deck saying that they couldn't get their things, and you went with the documents provided. And they were the blackest people I've ever met in my life. And I say that with all dignity and respect. I mean, they were just there's black and there's black. I have latte colored friends who say they're black and I don't get it, but these people were black.
Yeah.
And when they smiled, it lit up the room.
Beautiful smile when when the skin is.
And they were going to do it in their little apartment in Auburn. So I think, because I'm very good at smallish kind of weddings, I said, yeah, no problem at all. So I turned up at their place, and I swear to God, there must have been 100 people in the most brightly coloured national dress that I've ever seen, all with this massively dark skin. Seriously, only white person there. And they would spontaneously burst into song.
Oh, how beautiful.
And the day after I married them, the lady rang me and she said, I don't know how to tell you this. I'm so sorry. Will you ever forgive me? And I said, what's the matter? She said, it's not my passport I gave you. It was my sister's. I lied about my age. I was so scared. And I said, nobody cares how old you are, sweetheart. She said, oh, but I'm older than my husband. Again, nobody cares. But anyway, that was, for a first wedding, it was an extreme learning curve, because then I had to go through and, inform the Attorney General's department and sign another step deck and saying how terrified she was of the documents and falsifying, and get it all corrected for her.
That would have been such a beautiful cultural experience for you to
have
such a wedding. And they burst into song through the service. That would have been
constantly. But it's that real, that real rhythmic thing they get going, and their bodies are up and down and they don't care, and fantastic.
Yeah, I wish I'd grown up like that. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah. No inhibitions.
I was once in a choir that used to sing African songs, and I just loved every bit of it. You didn't sing with your voice, you sang with your body.
Yeah.
It's just marvellous. So Marion, being a celebrant is pretty special. So you're combining all these things. At the same time, are you also juggling a paid job?
Oh, yeah, I have a full-time job. I've always had a full-time job.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So you've got all these bits and pieces happening. So when people talk to me about, they're of a certain age and they can't find work and they can't find anything to do, um, I think your story is a bit of an inspiration for them. What
Oh,
advice would you give to someone who said, look, I'm of the silver sage age group and I just can't work out what to do. I can't find what to do. I can't get a job. I can't do this. I can't do that. What would you say to them?
well, I'm kind of the belief that things find you. Um, you just got to, it's that old thing, if the door's there, just open it. Most of us are too scared to open the door, you know, not so much what we're scared what's behind it. We're just too scared to open it,
Yep.
have a look. Just open it and have a look. There's no commitment to it. You just don't know. Life has so many surprises for you. If I hadn't watched a current affair and seen a story on these two young guys who were started doing strength training for older people when I was 40 kilos heavier and so worried about not being able to get off the floor because my knees were stuck, I would never have taken up strength training and gotten into powerlifting and become an Australian Masters champion. So there you go.
Well, that was my next question. So tell us
Oh,
all about
sorry.
that. Some people who are watching this might be saying, I've seen this woman before. I think I've seen her talking with Carl Stefanovic. So
Yeah,
tell us
that's
all
me.
about that part of your life.
I still have doubts about that, to be quite honest, because I was in hospital having my knee replaced,
Yep.
and the day after I got out of hospital, I got a call from Channel 9 about my application for this time next year, and I thought it was a joke, and I hung up. I thought it was one of my friends having a lend, and thank God they rang back. But they said I applied, and now I have no memory of writing anything because it literally, the email was the day after I had the operation, and I had painkillers up the wazoo and a blocker in my leg, and
That's probably
I
why
couldn't
you
have,
don't remember.
yeah, it could be. Anyway, so I went with it. I said, why not? And off we went. And they followed me down to Melbourne for my first ever Masters Championship. And they followed me around for a year. And I had a ball. My trainers had a ball. The boys loved it.
So you lost 40 kilos during that time. You took up
Yes.
strength training.
Yep. And
I referred to it as weightlifting, but that's not
well, it morphed into powerlifting as a
okay.
competition. It's still strength training, but
Okay.
powerlifting is a little bit, yeah.
And tell us about your masters competition.
Oh my God. I think I had an anxiety attack. I've never been so anxious. Seriously, never having had one, I can't say I had it, but I've never been that nervous. And we just spoke for a few minutes here, and you can see the things I've done in my life. And that freaked me out 100% because they told me, the first thing the boys said to me, you have to get one of those power suits. You know, the things that you see the weightlifters wear, and you have to wear one of those. I said, I'll get lost.
Very
They said,
attractive.
no. Thought it was a joke because they joke all the time. Nobody looks good in that, no matter how skinny you are or how fat you are. Boys don't look good in it anyway. And so I rang somebody I could trust and I said, yeah, you have to wear one of those. Okay, so fine. Then the boy said, oh, you get weight in your undies. And I said, be buggered. I'm not doing that. It's okay. It's just you and another couple women in the room. And I thought, okay, here come the granny undies. We're not going anywhere without those. So I got over that. And then it was like, oh my God, I have to walk out in front of these people looking like that. And you go all red in the face and you watch girls pee their pants all the time just from the exertion. And all these things are going through your head. But anyway, I got over it. And now I love it. I'm totally addicted.
How often do you train?
I train strength 4 days a week and I do cardio 2 days a week.
Fantastic. So wonderful.
Yeah,
And you did win the award for powerlifting for
I
the
did. My
Masters.
very first competition, I broke the Australian Masters record in my age and weight category twice. And I broke it again at the Masters. I broke it again the following year, twice at the next Masters. And I'm going to the Masters again this year and hope to take it over.
Fantastic, Marion. Congratulations. It
Thank
really
you.
is something. So talk about a portfolio of bits and pieces that you put together through your life. What has been perhaps your proudest moment?
Well, each of them has their own moment. I think I'm going to stick with the powerlifting for now because it's my hope to do the Worlds in New Zealand, which has just been moved to January next year.
Oh,
And
wow.
the thought, yeah, it just keeps going through my head. Oh my God, I'm fat and old, and I'm going to be lifting for Australia, like nationally in a competition. Who would think that would happen? Seriously.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, love it, love it.
So the weightlifting is the thing that you probably feel the greatest pride for. What was the hardest thing that you've done of all these to keep yourself going, but it really mattered to you to keep going at it?
Probably the SES, because I've just resigned as the commander and I'm thinking of giving it away next year. At this time, we're not training, we're not meeting, we're not doing anything. So it was easier for me to take that step back, but I can't align with myself with all the changes that have happened in recent times. And I'm thinking it's probably my last year.
Okay, that's a big decision for you to make.
It was a huge decision, yeah. And it was hard to make because I keep thinking, you know, I'll miss these people, but it's like, they're my mates, you know, and I've seen them all through all this, and they're going to be my mates after this anyway, so it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah. So of all of the things that you're doing, you obviously won't keep doing all of them, but what do you think you'll hang on to as the years go by? Will you still be powerlifting at?
Oh my God, yes. I've just taken up with
auditions?
yeah, I had 2 auditions last week, 2 castings, and I had a conversation with my trainer just this week about, like, he's 28. I said, in 12 years, you're going to be in Masters, bub. He says, in 12 years, you're going to be 75. He says, oh my God. And I'm only going to stick around to annoy the crap out of him, you know what I mean? No. But every 5 years in Masters, it changes. So you get a whole new set of records to try and break. So, you know, I can see this going on for as long as I possibly can. And I'm looking at getting my other knee replaced next year and taking away the pain out of it. I can't see any reason why I would want to stop.
That's fabulous. Look, I really admire what you've done over the years. It's been fun hearing about it and then talking to you about it at the times that we've caught up. Thank you for sharing with everyone today. I think you'll be inspiring a lot of people from this, and I will all be looking for you in January to see you powerlifting in New Zealand.
Well, wouldn't it be great? Thanks, Jenny. Appreciate
it. Fantastic. Okay, take care, Marion.
All right.